Welcome, niche website builders. Welcome, niche lifestylers, whatever that is. How you doing, everybody?
Good. Good, thank you.
Good.
Cool.
How are you? Do you hear us?
All good.
You see us?
Doug,
Yep.
speak. Can we hear you?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Doug, you fixed your mic. I saw you struggling last night.
Yeah, the driver needed to be updated or something. I don't know. I had to restart.
A driver? What are you on, a PC?
No way, man. But
Wow.
this sure, I don't know. They pushed, I don't know what it was. It worked earlier and then it stopped working. So anyway, you can hear me now.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I didn't think drivers were a thing, but I remember drivers being in a thing like 10 years ago. You got a new graphics card and you come with a CD with a driver on and things like that. I didn't even know there was a
CD, my drivers came on a
Yeah.
floppy disk.
Yeah, and you know what? I said driver, but it's the firmware. It was the firmware on the mic.
Yeah, that's
but
different.
it's the same. It's the same thing,
It's
basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Launch straight into it there. So yeah, I mean, Doug and Alex, we literally haven't spoken before the stream, so this as is the way of things. So today's show is going to be about the truth and motivation. But before we get into that, how's your week been, Alex?
My week started pretty well because it looks like two of my websites that were hit by the Google Core update are in recovery.
Ooh.
So Dart Picks being my main one that I'm particularly excited about. Traffic levels have returned to slightly higher than they were before the update. So I don't know, something might have happened over the last few days. I don't know if you guys have seen any movements on your sites, but I haven't really made any major changes to that site. Although I added one bit of content around dartboard lighting. You know, a lot of people were looking to light their dartboards. I had a post that was very product focused, a lot of affiliate links to lights. So I added another more informational bit of content using Jasper AI. I will add about how to light your dartboard, what kind of lights to use, where to position it, that kind of thing. And yeah, that's got some rank already. That was only published on Thursday. So now when you do a Google search, or at least when I do a Google search for dartboard lights or lighting or how to light a dartboard, actually both of those articles are coming up on page one. There's kind of like two next to each other, one slightly indented. So definitely something's changed at Google. So that's quite exciting. And also the Dart Picks site, I think it was on maybe Monday. Someone bought a £2,500 dartboard through a link. So that was
Wow.
a couple $100 commission from Amazon, and those kind of commissions, they're pretty hard to get from Amazon. So I'm pretty pleased, feeling positive about that.
Alex, just
go on.
On that one, when did the traffic start coming back? Was it yesterday?
No, it was a couple of days ago. I think maybe Sunday or Monday.
Okay, because one of my sites that were hit also started coming back a couple of days ago, and then yesterday traffic to all of my Amazon focus websites was through the roof, and I was like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" It's because it's Prime Day yesterday. And I was like, "Oh, that's why." But the other site started coming back, and it's not an Amazon site; it's like an information site.
Weird. I mean, do you do anything special for Prime Day?
I know. No, I didn't even realize it was on. I was just like, "Whoa, where's all this traffic coming from?"
I mean, that might be why. So, I mean, if you were going to buy a £2,500 dartboard, for example, you'd probably wait till Prime Day. Maybe you might get a discount. Although it's not usually that kind of stuff that's in the discount area, is it?
Yeah. Monday.
That's it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Still good.
Monday's when my site started coming back, Alex. By the way, I don't know if that corresponds with yours.
Let me just
site that's not
look at my Google Search Console.
Whilst Alex is doing that, how you doing, Doug?
Yeah, good here. I went to one of those financial independence retreats over the weekend. So that was like Thursday through Monday. And it was down in Colorado Springs, which is a couple hours away, but that was a blast. There's about 50 or 60 people or so. So not too big. You really get to talk to almost everyone at length. And there's a couple small talks, about 2 hours per day, but the rest of the time is pretty much open. There's a couple other little activities, but really it's like you're meant to talk and all that stuff and socialize versus sitting, listening to people talk. So yeah, it was a blast, a lot of fun, stayed up too late. So it took me a day or so to recover, but yeah, a lot of fun.
What were you drinking?
Yeah, I was drinking beer, a lot of beer, but I knew it was we're in for the long haul. So Thursday through Monday, if you go too hard the first day, you're just suffering the whole time. So I really sort of like progressively like eased into it, made
Yeah,
sure I was
paced
getting enough
yourself. Good.
rest. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
pace
Some
yourself.
people were up real late, but yeah, tons of fun.
Well,
So
anyone there that we might know?
Only they're not in our world, but like Mindy Jensen, if people know the Bigger Pockets Money podcast, it's a pretty
Okay.
big show. Bigger Pockets is a huge brand. Like if you look through the top 100 business podcasts, you'll find many of those. So she's one of the like friends, one of the neighbors here, and her husband, Carl, is 1500days.com. So they went, and there's a lady named Rachel Richards, and she has an Instagram called Money Honey, and she like retired at 27, has like a real estate portfolio, and I'm trying to think of any of the other big names that were there. I think Rachel and Mindy are probably like the most well known, to the point where like some other regular people may know, like even if you're not into real estate podcast or anything. So anyway, no one from
Sounds
our
good.
world though.
Alex, did your site come back on Monday?
Okay, the answer to that question is I'm looking now. I'd say Friday. Friday was
Interesting.
when the first kind of uplift went. So on Wednesday, I had 14 clicks on Google Search Console. No, let's say Thursday. Thursday was up to 74 clicks, 86 clicks. So yeah, it's just kind of going up. And obviously, Search Console data is a bit behind. I don't know. Yeah, it only goes up to Monday. But yeah, the weekend, I'd say.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And the thing that you published was AI written? Is that's what you said?
Well, yeah, I mean, I used AI to put it together, but I did the kind of research and laid out the headings and everything and just used AI to fill it out. And I did it on the live stream on Thursday. Thursday, I did like a 2-hour stream and we were just working on sites. And I think I did it on Thursday. Because on Thursday, I also added a popcorn calorie calculator to my popcorn website, getting well into my calculators. So that's a bit of fun.
Cool.
So you could basically
Maybe
just
AI
put a lot
content
through it.
isn't dead this time around anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think
The
so.
AI cover led to the recovery. I mean, it's pretty clear.
Well, apart from the fact that it was all AI content in the first place when it hit it, took the drop.
Yeah, but that wasn't the reason. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we can necessarily claim the drop or the recovery on either on that. So.
If only it was that
Yeah.
simple.
Cool. Adam, it's again.
Good. Thank you very much. We are still enjoying the nice weather here in the UK. It's still boiling hot. Yeah, apart from that, it's just been a good week. Lots of stuff
That's like
on.
news in the UK. The sun's out.
Yeah, the sun's out.
It's been hot here for like 2 months now.
The news in the UK at the moment is crazy. It's either about the weather or it's about the cost of like low pack butter, like how the cost of butter is going through the roof, and supermarkets are having to put security tags on butter at the moment. It seems crazy.
Why is the cost of butter so high?
I don't know. I didn't read them. They seem clickbaity news articles. I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Really, not much to report this week in terms of what I've been doing. Just been head down working this week. Nothing fun.
Given that we're on our own channel and we updated everyone yesterday, if you really want to hear an update from me and Adam, you can look at yesterday's stream. But yeah, so okay, cool. So let's get into the show. So let's see who's here. We got Baz, we got Sam, we got Marcus, we got Carly, we got Below Average Blogger, Daniel, Emily, Gustavo. I think that's about it there on the list. I think I might miss people at the top. Tim and Brian. Sorry, missed you at the top there. But yeah, hope everyone is doing well. Quick bit of housekeeping. So if you're new around here, don't forget to like and subscribe. We meet up every Wednesday at this time, sometimes on this channel, sometimes on Alex's channel, WP Eagle, and sometimes on Doug's channel. So check out the links in the description and subscribe to those channels too to catch the show every week. if we get enough likes this week on the show, then we will do a giveaway at the end of the show for some niche website builders merch, t-shirts. You can't see it because of the sun. Caps and mugs and stuff. So yeah, get liking, and we'll do a draw at the end. And one last thing, as always, in the description we have our latest offers and deals. So check out the link in the description for any offers and discounts on niche website builders products and services. Right, so onto the show then. So we're going to talk today about the truth about motivation, and there's a few topics that kind of came up. I recently read a book by Stephen Bartlett called Happy Sexy Millionaire, which is really good. We talked about Stephen Bartlett before on the show, I think. I don't think he's not so well known in the US, but he's like on Dragon's Den like guy at the moment. But he created a social media agency. He was like a multi-millionaire at the age of 25 from creating a social media agency. He floated it on the stock market, I think, and things like that. But huge company, like 700 people or something at one point.
Social chain, it's called, isn't it? If people
social chain, yeah. But there's a number of these chapters in his book that are really good. One of them is about motivation. But the title of the book, Happy Sexy Millionaire, comes from the fact that he came from very, very poor backgrounds, like very poor in kind of London. And actually, I think he was originally born abroad, but he came to London, or his parents came to London. He was very poor background, but he kind of wrote in his journal one day that he wanted to be a happy, sexy millionaire by 25 or whatever. And he kind of got it there. He kind of achieved his goal many times over. I realized, that wasn't the thing that made me happy. And like, you've heard this thing before, right? Money doesn't make you happy. There's other things, but like people still kind of, head for these goals, and you kind of got to look a little bit deeper. It's not just about the money. It's kind of like other things, or is it even about the money at all? But this chapter about motivation, it's a couple of things I kind of wanted to cover off. It's like motivation, the myth, the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and how that can have an impact on your motivation and where your motivation is directed.
I think you better clarify what those two words mean.
I will come to that. Don't worry.
Oh God, I didn't know we're having a psychology lesson on today.
Oh yeah, and then we're going to talk about the top 5 regrets of the dying, which is an interesting thing. A little bit about burnout and living life your way. So there's a few things to cover off there, but like the things at the end are very, very quick. But in terms of
you kind of have an agenda for these.
Oh, I know.
These chats.
Good, huh? Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know. Normally you don't, or normally it's been.
Normally I don't.
I thought I'd structure it. But just the motivation, the myth. I think it's worth just mentioning that if we hear about successful people, or the traits of successful people, or you look at social media for too long, you'll see things that make you feel not insignificant. It makes you feel insecure, or think that you're good and not good enough compared to other people, because you'll see the traits of successful people, and that's like they get up at 4 a.m. every morning, they meditate for an hour, then they
cold shower,
their green tea, have a cold shower, go for a run, all before 8 o'clock, and it's not realistic and actually quite damaging to set those bars for people to make them think that you have to be kind of that perfect, or that motivated to be successful, and everyone's people striving towards those goals can be really difficult. So I think, what's your thoughts on that, I guess, to start with, kind of, Doug?
Which part? Just the social media and toxic hustle culture?
Just like that belief that you, to be successful, you need to be doing these mythical humanoids that can do super.
I'm against it. I'm against it overall. I think
I'm against it. It is demotivating.
I think I have gotten up at 4 a.m. and done all the stuff that you were talking about, but I had to pull time from somewhere, and it was like unsustainable, and I knew it at the time, and I say that now, So I think I'll take the positive route first and say it is cool to see, an example of maybe someone that's like you or that you can identify with, and like they've overcome their little thing, but they always have to pull it from somewhere. I pulled it from like sleep and energy and attention to my day job. So I pulled it from there, and those were sacrificed. And then I had to come back and fill those in. Now, excuse me, now I'm trying to sleep more, and I took a nap like the last 2 days just to catch up from the weekend. So, and as far as like the social media and the sort of hustle culture, yeah, I think that's bananas. Like at some point you have enough and you can stop. So like that person, I don't know, I'm not familiar. I remember you guys mentioned that book, but yeah, like if he made $50 million more, pretty sure his like happiness level wouldn't be any more. He'd be like more stressed out. So
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, what are your thoughts?
I hate all that stuff too. I mean, I think it can be demotivating because people do want to change their life. They want to be successful, but then they hear that, okay, I need to exercise more. I need to sleep more. I need to get up earlier, take cold showers, meditate, listen to podcasts, read books. And it's all just so overwhelming that then you kind of get stuck and you don't know where to start. And actually, I think Matt actually put a tweet up a few weeks ago on this and said, his morning routine is he gets out of bed when he wants, has a coffee, does work. That's it really. And he's obviously very successful. So I think a lot of people can think that, if I don't do that, then I can't be successful. So I'm not going to do that. So what's the point of even trying? And completely just kills their motivation and their drive to actually crack on and do something because they don't want to get up at 4 a.m.
And it's all crap, right? Like 99%. A lot of it is crap. Like it's people talking. They're presenting.
I think it can work for some people. It can probably work for some people. And some people that have become successful did do some of those things. Whether they would become successful without those things, we don't know, do we?
But I think 99% of successful people probably aren't as rigid and as disciplined as kind of someone who does that kind of every day and never loses motivation.
You see a lot of these people tweeting and YouTubing stuff about how they're so wonderful at getting up and meditating and they don't drink and they don't eat the wrong food and they exercise all the time and they put all their best bits into their business and they're making millions of dollars. Are they really? I don't know. Obviously, everyone's got these personas online that are going to be their best reflection of what they want to be, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I see what they're trying to do. They're all trying to motivate and encourage people, but it can have the opposite effect.
Well, because this guy's successful, like he says one of the most common questions he gets is just assumes that he has unwavering motivation. And they ask him, how do you stay motivated, like day in, day out? And he goes, and his answer is like, I don't. Like, it's not realistic. I'm like anybody else. Like some days I'm more motivated than others. Sometimes I'm like really focused. Sometimes I'm just all over the place and going down YouTube rabbit holes or whatever. Like I'm just, that's the truth of it. But Adam, what's your thoughts on it?
I think the same as Alex there in terms of like how real are these people. Like I see a lot of this stuff on TikTok at the moment. Like people like telling you what your daily routine should look like for success, or if you want to get in shape, then these are the top 5 things. And they're really clickbaity because like if you do those 5 things, you're not going to look really good instantly. And if you do these list of 10 things, you're not going to become successful instantly. Like it feels like they're trying to give you the short answer, like do these 10 things and that's it. It's like magic. It happens overnight. But it's not. And then I see a couple of like other ones then. It's like they're taking the mick out of they're making fun of these other accounts. And it's like, this guy's like, hey guys, just got up. It's 3 a.m. Can't believe it. I'm just going to go for a run. And then his mate's like, yo, dude, what are you doing? It's like 4 p.m. Why are you saying that? He's like, yeah, but I'm going to post it tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. so my people think that I'm up early and I'm hustling. I wonder how many people are like that, like doing that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback on that point, I think it's more about consistency over the long term, right? Like you're saying, it's not going to be in a week. It'll be like, 50 weeks in, like that's when it clicks. But if you look at it that way, then you don't have to be motivated every day. If you don't feel like the big workout, you can do a smaller one, maybe wake up 15 minutes later at 4:30 and start your day a little bit later, like the rest of everybody.
It is like going to the gym, isn't it? You go to the gym and you do one massive session, and it's going to have no impact. You go to the gym every 3 days and do just a normal workout, and over the space of a year, it's going to have a massive impact. And it's the same with everything in your life. Like, there's no consistency. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in for the short term. Probably not going to see the results you want anyway. And I think that's probably where he comes back to Stephen. He's like, I'm not motivated every day, but I only have to be motivated a couple of times a week and get a lot done in those times I am motivated over a long enough period of time to be successful.
Yeah, definitely. It's about small gains, playing the long game, and a little bit each day. And that's something else I think, that we've covered on here, and I think he speaks about in his book as well, if I remember. But it's consistency more than anything else.
Derek asked a good question. He's like, he thinks we're all successful because we each got YouTube channels. What time do we get up? Like, what time do you guys get up in the mornings? If we're talking about people getting up and hustling.
I got go on, Alex.
Well, the two parts that I think you're successful because you each have YouTube channels. I think having a following / community / audience, whatever you want to call it, is a huge catalyst on your road to success. Just by having people that you can talk to, share stuff with, market to, maybe is one word. It does have a huge effect. And also then when it comes to services and things, you tend to get special treatment. I don't know. So definitely, if you can build an audience on YouTube or wherever, you definitely have a big lever. In terms of what time I get up about 7:30 most weekdays because of the kids. They need taken to school or somewhere or whatever. Maybe the weekend I'll go a little bit later if I can. But I know Doug goes to bed at like 8 o'clock every evening, so you're probably like up at 4 or 5.
Yeah. In theory, I try to be in bed by about 9, but it's usually like between 9 and 10. So I wake up typically between like 5:30 and 6:30. I've been trying to push it out and wake up later and just to sleep a little bit more. But like in the summertime, the sun comes up earlier, so I wake up a little earlier. In the winter, I go with the sun. But I usually don't set an alarm. I haven't, unless I gotta like catch a flight. So I haven't set an alarm in years.
No.
Yeah.
How much sleep are you getting then?
Probably like 7.5 or so. I'm trying to like make it longer, but.
How much sleep do you want?
If I could get 8 to 8.5, I think that would be good.
That's the optimum.
Yeah. I think so for me. Yep.
What do you think of the phrase, there's plenty of time to sleep when you're dead?
I think people say that don't sleep enough.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, because I used to run, I'm like, I could get by on like 6 or 6.5, but I was a zombie and I drank way too much caffeine. And I was more irritable and grouchy and stuff. But as I've slept more, I'm like, I actually feel great. Like I'm way more positive. So just from that standpoint, I'm like,
it's important.
Sleep is a lot more valuable, and I feel I'm sharper. I get things done faster and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure people say that, and they have not yet figured out that they need more sleep than they think.
They're the people that stay up really late. Yeah. So sleep is directly linked to your motivation?
Yes, most likely, because I say that, and then over the weekend, it was a special activity, right? So at the retreat on like day 1, I went to bed at like midnight. Day 2, probably midnight again, and then I progressively got later to like 1, and the last night I went to bed at 2. So those nights I like depleted my reservoir of sleep, and I was like very unmotivated on Monday and partially yesterday. So I'm like snapping out of it a little bit today now that I've like caught up on the sleep. But I would say
that's lack of sleep and alcohol does that for sure. I think that the thing with me is in going to bed early is because of the kids. They don't go to bed now till maybe 9 because it's too hot and light here ready for them to go to bed any earlier. So that time when they're in bed is like the precious time where I can do my own stuff without worry about the kids. To go like to bed then would be like a waste. I'd be missing out on those few hours where I can actually do what I want without having to worry about them. But it obviously has an effect on my sleep.
I think being parents is a whole new ball game for trying to
yeah, but it's not like when
that.
you've got babies where they're like just waking you up
No.
every few hours and you just don't get any decent sleep at all. And then you do feel like a complete zombie every day. And you've got a baby waking you up every few hours.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, we have the same. I think just to go back to that. So I think building community in a lot of spaces. Someone building your tribe or people within your tribe for building community is huge, but it just takes time, right? It isn't like something that happens kind of overnight. You don't just go, oh yeah, wow, look, I've got a community. That's something that takes a long time to kind of develop and to make happen. But yeah, I mean, I do try and do a walk. I do a walk every 6 days a week. I do an hour long in the morning. So I try. My wife sets the alarm for about 6:10. Our school is quite far away, so she's still kid stuff for the school in the morning. So I'm normally up and out the house by 6:30, do an hour's walk, get back, and I find that otherwise I don't do any exercise because I just literally have my home office. So yeah, I feel like I need to do that from it just helps me. Set me up for the day, but also just frees my mind a little bit, like just going for a walk. I woke up opposite to Adam. Adam said he woke up in a really good mood this morning. I woke up in a really bad mood this morning, and we had a rough night as well, like waking up with the kids and stuff. And I felt really moody, and I thought I'm just going to bin off the walk. I'm just going to lay in bed a bit longer. But actually, I went for the walk, and I just felt so much better. Just by the end of it, coming back. So there's a lot to be said for that, I think.
How many miles do you think you're walking a day then?
Oh, it's just over 5K for that one walk.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it's about. I still only do it. I managed probably just shy of 10,000 steps. Even though I do that, I deliver about 6,500, 7,000 steps in the first hour of the day, and then the rest is nothing basically. But,
yeah. I walk tons now. I mean, I must be doing 8 miles a day, 9 miles a day, just because we don't have a car and we have to walk everywhere here. So it's fine. I like walking here.
Nice.
Cool. Marcus asked, do you guys feel like warm weather has an impact on productivity and motivation? For sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Living in Spain, yeah. When it's really hot, when it's 30 degrees, which I don't know, that's what, 90, nearly 100, and you're sweating, it can be hard to be motivated to do anything. I think either sleep or just sit with a cold one in the shade.
But also, I'm going to say the opposite to Marcus. Quite often, I think on that second point, is that quite often the weather's nice. I just feel more spirited, happier generally, than when the days are dark and miserable. And yeah, I'm suffering from seasonal depression because I can't wait for it not to be dark all the time. So I think as long as you're not hot, I think there's a difference between hot and having nice sunny weather, right? If you can look at the sun outside and you've got nice cool room and air conditioning and stuff, and that's probably okay. But yeah, actually being hot, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah,
I quite like the dark days though. Like I'm with Marcus there. If I'm looking out the window and it's dark, it feels good to be in the warm doing something productive. Like, but as the evenings get lighter in the summer and the weather's nice, and I think I get a bit of FOMO. Like, I see people going out, or Jess takes Park to the park, and I've like got some stuff to finish off, and I can't go with them and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I want to be out rather than working then. So I think that might play into a little bit in terms of like lighter nights, darker nights, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say here in Colorado, we get about 300 sunny days a year. So exactly what you're talking about, Adam. I'm like, oh, it's like nice. I got to go out, but it's almost every day. The way it's nice out. And as far as the heat, I see Marcus mentioning liking the winter weather better. That's the same for me. So like as long as I'm not hot and sweaty, like where I'm working, I'm usually okay. And I'm down here in the cool basement, so it stays like much cooler down here anyway. But I actually enjoyed Montana, which is about 12 hours north of here. So it's much cooler, longer winter nights. In the winter, actually, it may be close to a latitude that you guys are used to, but the sun wouldn't come up until 8 in the morning and it sets at 4. So like kind of short days, but that helps me get more sleep because then I could go to bed a little earlier. So
And I guess all this like sleep and how you feel in the mood is comes back to what Insanity Antics says here. It's to do with just general mental health overall, right? Like if you get a good night's sleep, you feel better, and if you are in a cooler environment and you're sweating, but you can still see the sun, like it does affect your mood, and I guess it comes back to mental health in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so moving on to intrinsic and extrinsic motivation then, Alex. So intrinsic motivations are ones that come from within. So things that you desire, things that you want to do, things that make you happy doing, versus extrinsic motivation, which is basically external motivations, right? Such as money or recognition or fear of not losing your job. Like all those things are kind of external to you rather than internal. And if you think about it, like if you heard of the flow state before, like where you really get into something, and generally like flow state is, you know, when you like you get your head down into something and you just get so absorbed in it that time disappears, and like before you know it, like it's hours have passed, but it feels like minutes, and but you've really got into the flow of like what you're doing and achieving. That's what they call like flow state. And like generally you're going to get, well, almost universally, you're going to get into flow state much more easily doing something you love and enjoy and are interested in than something that's going to, you're not so interested in, but your motivation is elsewhere. So with money and that kind of thing. Like if you're focusing like solely, which a lot of people do, on like external motivations, then your intrinsic motivations is never going to have the chance to be heard, because you're sort of looking towards this future goal of like, yeah, I'm going to work now, I'm going to have loads of money in the future and everything will be good. But like, then you're kind of dismissing all the some stuff that you enjoy doing because your focus is on extrinsic goals rather than intrinsic goals and kind of what you enjoy and what you want to do. And I think that the science shows that you can be momentarily satisfied by achieving something monetary and maybe buying something, but that kind of almost never lasts. It's kind of it's more about the intrinsic stuff, and that's how you'll end up kind of being more happy, but also just more motivated, kind of in general. So that's the difference between intrinsic and kind of extrinsic motivations. But
then aren't the two kind of pulling each other in different directions? You've got like the motivation, I've got the outside motivation, I need to make some money, I've got my goals for my business, I want to do this, that and the other. And then you've got the stuff from within that says, why don't we go for a walk, why don't we go and play football, why don't we go and have a beer, because you're motivated to do those things from within because they feel good. So aren't the two kind of pulling against each other?
Can I jump in and add I'm not going to answer what you said, Alex, specifically, but another way that I've heard it explained is like some people, like I'm intrinsically motivated, so usually I can like operate on my own. I don't need anyone like a boss like dictating like that I need to turn something in or whatever. And the extrinsic, some people need like external factors because they don't have the internal. So one way you could facilitate it is have like if we formed a mastermind group and we needed like accountability, or we had accountability to each other, we're like, we're going to do this thing, I have a deadline, and then I have to come back next week. Some people need other people like the accountability group to rely on that to get them to do the work, because they can't do it themselves, but they know they don't want to let their 3 mastermind partners down.
So that can be helpful then. So that's a bit of both, isn't it?
So yeah, you have to figure out like which one you are. And then like I'm mostly intrinsic, but I don't want to let people down. But typically, even if I set my own motivational goals or whatever, I can do it. But yeah, you have to figure out which one. And it can be like you're saying, Alex, it could like pull you apart. But if you know that you're extrinsically motivated and you need help, then you can set up a system to make sure that happens externally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm doing Spanish lessons at the moment. I've just started doing Spanish lessons because I want to learn Spanish. That comes from within. I want to learn Spanish because there's nothing worse when you walk around Spain and you hear some English person say, "Can I have a bottle of fizzy water, please?" And it's just like, that's like the basic. Surely you can say agua con gas. It's like, come on. But then the Spanish lessons gives me that external accountability. So, my teacher sets me homework. I've got a lesson tonight. He's going to want to see that I've done some work. So I've got that responsibility to him and the other student in the class to kind of deliver that. And I know just if I just relied on myself to do that, then it would probably not as much would get done, probably.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. I mean, one like talk about external motivations. Think about like what your parent, or when we grew up, like what your parents expect you to be. They want you to be like, what was the desirable careers, to be like a lawyer or like policeman or whatever. And now with social media, like you got expectations. Well, maybe you should be an influencer. Like everyone wants to be a YouTube influencer, right? Or you want to be a millionaire, or you want to be a musician or whatever. Like maybe it's like those external factors telling you should be a good lawyer because that's going to set you up for life. That's going to be a great career. But actually, that's not what you felt inside. That's what you feel like you want to be because you've been told that's what is a good thing to want to be. And so you pursue that for a long period. I know I can't, including my wife. Like I know countless people have gone to uni or whatever, studied something, and then 10 years down the road, I've just completely switched and gone, I wish I hadn't studied. If I do it again, I would not study that because that was just what I thought was right and what someone told me was right, but actually it's not what I wanted to do. I think that's kind of, one aspect of it is like you're being told from these external forces what's right and what you should be doing. And actually, and you follow that, but is it actually really what you want to do? And that's kind of a very different thing. And there was also a study they've done studies for intrinsic versus extrinsic stuff. So for people that enjoyed doing specific tasks, they did a study where they got two groups of people and they started offering payment for specific tasks, so the tasks that they enjoyed doing. And actually what they found was that when they got the choice of doing those tasks again, the people who got paid were less motivated to doing that task than before, because suddenly, have I got it in my notes? Like, I can't remember what happened, but suddenly they felt answerable to somebody else. It wasn't all autonomy and all their freedom to have to do that task they wanted to do. It's called the undermining effect. So if you're paid to do something you love doing, you're likely to lose motivation. Is obviously what that means. So the weird scenario is there. Yeah, it's kind of a weird psychological thing. You get paid to do it, you actually lose motivation, even though you enjoyed it in the first place, because now you're kind of answerable to somebody else.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, isn't it? But yeah. So I know that when I went to university, I studied computer science. I mean, luckily for me, I was interested. I was never that interested in programming. I guess I kind of liked it a bit, but not massively. And that's what I thought I should get into, because when I was young, it was like, oh, computers, they're going to be like the next big thing. Like, there's going to be a massive shortage. And there was, right? It's true. There was. I got into computer science and it was good. And that's where all the money's going to be. But I got told that. I mean, luckily for me, I was kind of in the right ballpark. My wife did. Don't want to get them too confused. My wife did systems analysis, and she fucking hates computers now and hates social media and hates anything to do with IT. She worked in banks doing IT because that was the right thing to do. 10 years later, hates the thought of even doing that. She'd never do it again. And I don't know what you think, but I don't know. When you first started out in your career, do you ever feel that you were being led down a path that this was the right thing to do?
Yeah, definitely for me.
Yeah.
I did computer engineering, similar idea where it was like, oh, computers are big, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up being fine for a while. And I think probably, I don't know, 2/3 of the way in, I realized, oh, I don't think I want to do this job. Like, it's fine. I'm okay at it, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I finished the the degree and then got into consulting, which ended up working out okay. And I'd never had to use the exact degree. But then I realized I didn't like that specific job either. But again, it was fine. But like you're saying, at the very beginning, you get led down in this path. You make some decision when you're like 17 or 18 and you have no idea about anything. You're an idiot at that age. And you're like making a decision that will lead you down a path for, potentially like 40 years or whatever, but at least a few years when you're going to college, but potentially until you realize you hate the job that you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mark, you
Yeah,
took,
and
you
it-
took
and
a
it-
gap. Oh, sorry.
No, go on, Adam.
I was going to say, you took a gap year, though, Mark, before going to university, right? And I wondered if that kind of... I'm not making that up, right? You did take a gap year before you did university, didn't you?
I actually didn't go to uni, and I went and worked for 3 years. Before,
Yeah.
Then decided to go to uni.
But it's interesting you went, because usually the thing you're taught growing up is you finish school, then you go to university, then you start your career. But you kind of didn't do that traditional route. You worked, but even still then, you were still influenced to go and work and do your degree in computer science. Like, do you think that... I never took a gap year, but I always assumed like a gap year, people would realize it during that gap year, like, oh, actually, I didn't want to do that, or I won't actually want to. That's not what I want to do in my life. But that didn't happen for you.
Yeah, it was a double motivation actually. So like, the weird thing about, I don't know. At my age, but when and I don't know if it's like an age thing or whether it was a my school thing. But in my school, almost nobody went to university. Like virtually no one. Like I probably knew like one or two people in my entire year at school, of which there was like a couple of hundred people.
That was probably your school, but my school, pretty much everyone did.
Same,
Yeah.
yes. It was
I
pushed
didn't. So hang on, you three have got degrees?
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
So they didn't go. Like nobody went. So it was actually, it wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. Everyone just left the school and went and got a job. Like it just wasn't something. I didn't even use the word university or talk about university as a thing. It just wasn't a thing. No one talked about it. The teachers didn't talk about it. Like parents didn't talk about it.
Oh no, it was
Nobody
a big
talked
push.
about it.
You're talking about like college sixth form time when you've done your A levels,
Yeah.
right? When you get like the second year of A levels, the universities they start coming around. There's the UCAS thing. You just gotta pick your course, pick university. Everyone's doing all this stuff like that. I think I had enough of school. I think I'll probably had enough of school. I kind of regretted it in the end because I know everyone had a real good time and partied hard and all that, which is all I'd have come out with is just cirrhosis of the liver, probably not a degree, but so I missed that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I don't have any desire to do that, and my parents didn't push me to go to university, which was kind of weird because I think a lot of people are pushed by their parents to go to university. If there's any
It's the
kind of
right
hope,
thing again.
and you just do some random degree in like media or some other weird thing. That's obviously going to be of no use to you in the future anyway.
My degree's in media, Alex. So
Yeah, that's what I said. and do you draw on that degree daily in your?
I know
business
it's not in
life?
media, by the way. But no, I don't draw my degree in general. I don't think.
No, I
Who
think
does?
unless you're
Like,
going to be a scientist or maybe doctor, something vary of the traditional degrees like maths, science, that kind of thing. It's medicine, law. Probably quite useful to know all that stuff. Other things, I don't think so. I think most of the time you learn from your experiences and from messing stuff up, don't you?
My degree is international business management, and we run a business. But I don't feel like there's any learnings that I apply.
International business management. What the hell? You did
That sounds
2 years
quite
on
useful now, Adam.
It sounds useful, but like
It sounds general. I mean, surely every business is different for a start. I mean, there's going to be some rules, but you just like read E-Myth or whatever, don't you? You could do it in a week. You don't need to spend 2 years in university.
yeah, no, definitely.
I don't know.
So I went into insurance for 3 years there, and then decided I had a bigger group of younger friends, and they all went on to uni and were having the time of their life, getting smashed on like cheap beer, and they were, as far as I said, they were going to go and do the career they wanted. At the time, I just got into insurance because it was a job that came up in the newspaper or whatever, and I applied for it because it's like, okay, well that sounds like it might be okay. It's not because I had a desire; it was all about the end goal. Like, oh, well, how much money can I earn for that? All right, I'll do that work for that money. It was not like because I wanted to do that job as such. So then I thought, well, why the hell are they having great fun at uni? I'm going to do the job they want. and I'm sitting there like doing a job I don't want. So I decided to go to uni, and I think the only thing it's good for, I mean, like nobody does A levels, nobody uses their A levels or their GCSEs, right? Nobody uses the university degree for the most part. But I think deferring real life is the best part of it. Like probably
Yeah,
3 or
that
4
is the best thing
years
about
to
school,
defer
yeah.
to real life and have fun.
It's so funny though, because I remember thinking back when I was doing my A levels, and even when I got my degree, like when I finished my A levels, they give you this red book where you have all your achievements in, and you put your A level results, and then you put your degree in there. And I was just assuming like you would take that around with you to employers, like these are my results. This is my life's work so far. Like nobody's ever asked. Nobody cares.
No one cares.
Nobody cares.
I'm sorry to say, Adam, no one cares. I mean, like
No, I know.
I've been recruiting for, and this has happened before when I've been recruiting for graphic designers or writers, that kind of thing. People send me this lovely CV, couple of pages, all of their achievements, their education, whatnot. And most of the time, well, not most of the time, quite a few times, they'll do that. They'll send all this stuff. They'll spend hours laying it out. And I'm like recruiting a writer, and they won't send me some writing. I don't care about your CV. I don't care about your experience. Oh, there's the boy in the background. There's Parker.
These are the joys of working from the kitchen. So
yeah, that's fine.
Come home from school.
I've had many a stream with the kids coming and interrupting. But yeah, it's like if I'm going to employ you for a job like graphic design or writing, I really don't care if you've got a degree or anything in either of those subjects. I just want to see, can you do some colouring in or can you do some writing? Let me see it. And if it's good, you got the job. Really, it's that simple.
And I'll jump in. I agree with all the points you're making. So I have two things to add. One, I think the place that it matters is like the old career that I had. And Mark, maybe you could identify too. But like if you go to a corporate setting, there's some old school people in there, and like you got to have the degree from the right place.
Yeah.
And
but if you want a job at Microsoft, Mark, you have to have that, don't you?
yeah, it matters. Yeah. Or like I worked at Accenture, like the big consulting companies, like you have to have that kind of stuff all together.
Yeah, because you need to be conditioned as a cog that's going to fit into that machine.
Exactly.
They don't want any free thinkers in there, do they?
Exactly.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And then the other piece is I did a podcast episode on my other show, Mile High Fi, where I talked to my friend Amberly Grant, and she took like 7+ gap years and then eventually went to college. But she like traveled the world and did all sorts of stuff before. I think she moved to LA for a few years, and she partied with people that were in college. She was like a roommate, but like never went to school. So she would like work and then party with everyone. So she like just did the fun stuff of college. But she eventually got a degree and does ironically the same kind of work that I did before. Software project management. But I think like a long set of gap years, like that makes sense if you want to do it. And then you don't need a degree. Like you can work remotely, like you guys were talking about, and do, freelance work or other kind of things where you don't need a degree, and you don't need anyone to tell you that you can do something or that you can't. Like you could just do whatever you want to try.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw something out there though, and I never really thought about my degree this way until I was speaking to one of our clients. She's a serial learner. She's got like 4 degrees, and I remember saying to her, I was like, "Why?" She runs her own business. That like she doesn't do anything with the degrees. And I was like, "Why did you do those?" And she's always learning. She's always taking courses, and I was like, "What is it about that?" And apart from the joy of just learning, she said her degrees taught her how to like think in a structured way. And I can kind of see that looking back, like the university kind of does teach you to think in a structured way about certain problems or certain tasks. And she basically said during that time, like she can now apply that framework and that thought process to other areas of her life. And she's incredibly successful in her other business. And she told me she puts a lot of that success down to the way that she's able to think and structure and work at problems, and she feels that lots of that have come from her degrees. And until she told me about that, I'd never really thought of that being a benefit of a degree. But I don't know if you guys agree with that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, yes, I think I do. I have an engineering degree, so it's like problem solving. So that it does help.
Yeah, I just never thought of it that way. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
So your degree helped you change the way you think?
Oh, was that to me?
To anyone who's got a degree, which would be either any of you.
Oh, Not necessarily. Well, I was going to say it's too many years now. So it's like 20 years later. I've changed everything about what I thought. So if the degree changed how I thought, then I've already changed it to something else. So it's irrelevant. So I don't know. And someone did mention not having an education, or what does that say? It's silly to think that not
Yeah, the
having a
one from
degree makes
Spain.
you a
Yeah.
free thinker. I agree on that as well. I mean, I think we're focusing on the college part, and we don't need to. It's like you can learn outside of college, and you can be a free thinker within college because you're exposed to new ideas that you didn't see in maybe your small town, or maybe the curriculum wasn't that broad. And then you go to some liberal arts school where there's like tons of things you never thought about, philosophy and other pieces of information like that. So they're not exclusive. Like there's a blend, and the structure of university, I'm not for it. It costs too much. And like, that's what Amberly and I talked about. It's like, should you go to a 4-year like go get a 4-year degree? Is it worth how much it costs now? Probably not, unless you have, like you said, Alex, law, some professional degree, medicine. There's a handful,
They're like
architect, like you,
vocational degrees, aren't they? Vocational degrees where you
Yeah.
learn a subject and then you use that daily.
right? Yeah. So anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting we say you need an education. Still an education, but you should use it to see through the crap. When you say education, I'm not. That's a big word, isn't it? Because we're saying that could be all the way from starting school all the way through to university. But really, how much of that education do you need? I mean, you need obviously to be able to read, write, speak. You need some maths to a certain degree. But then all the other layers of education, does that come from school, or does that just come from life?
We're also boxing education in here broadly as university or college, right? Like you can do education afterwards. You have to teach yourself how to do adverts, right, Alex? How to set up
Yeah.
campaign,
You have to
run
learn all
those,
that
and
stuff.
then
Yeah, you learn
how to
how to build a
run a
website.
YouTube
You learn how to do
Yeah.
search and analysis. You learn how to make a YouTube video. You learn how to edit a video. Did I learn any of that stuff from school? No, from university.
And that comes back then to the motivation thing, I think, because you've got to be motivated to learn that. If you go to university, you've paid a big chunk, and that's typically your motivation. You're intrinsic because you want to finish and get a good job, and that's the way it should be. And then your external factors are your parents or your people who pushed you to go to university, and the fact that you've paid this massive fee. But if you haven't gone down that route, like you did, Alex, you've got to be a self-starter then. You've got to want to learn these things, and there's no one there really pushing you to learn these apart from yourself.
No. Yeah. And I get a kick out of learning something myself, especially when you're looking to achieve something. Generally, you learn these skills because you're looking to do something. You want to create an article, you want to edit a video. So you kind of learn on the job. But then at the end of the learning session, which is not over 2 or 4 years, it's generally over a day or two, you have a finished product, like a video or an article or a website. And that is so rewarding. I mean, I don't know how long it would take to learn how to be a videographer at university. A couple of years, I'd imagine. But do you need that to put out YouTube videos? Probably not.
And also,
do you even need that to sell videos to people? Probably not.
And you probably couldn't learn in the format that you wanted to. I don't know how you learned this stuff, but you couldn't go to university and watch YouTube videos on how to do this stuff for 4 years, right? They wouldn't allow that. So, but if that's the way you learn, then that's the way you learn, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, keen that Adam needs to finish promptly today, so I'm keen that we kind of get this thing wrapped up. I'm just going to make a couple of comments on stuff that I promised at the start because I put that agenda together, which I knew wouldn't be able to fit in. So I'll make a couple of comments on that. We'll then try and get some people invested for the draw, and then we'll just make a few comments on the last few things here I'm going to mention. So I think the first thing to mention is kind of burnout. So there's a belief that burnout only really comes from people, when you're in pursuit of external goals, because whoever really gets burnt out doing the stuff that they love, who gets burnt out like doing, writing poetry or painting or, going on whatever it is, like who really gets burnt out on that stuff. It's kind of external stuff you kind of get burnt out on. Or when you're pursuing external goals. One thing is there was a lady called Bonnie Ware or Bronnie Ware. She was a palliative carer, so she was cared for people at the end of their life, basically. And she wrote a book. It's really interesting. The top 5 regrets of the dying. And I'll let you look up the other ones. But number 1 was I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expect of me. And like, I think that's kind of interesting based on what we were saying about motivation too. And, it's very, I think it's easy to say, but then, when you're at that end of life and you've kind of looked back on your life and things you should have done, if that's the number one thing, I think that's something that we should all step up and pay attention to. I think, ultimately we're just talking about living life your way rather than external factors. And sometimes it's hard to ignore those or not understand even what is external and internal. You really got to kind of look into yourself to understand what that is. So on that note, I'm just going to say, if you are interested in some merch, type something into the chat now, and then we'll do the draw in a couple of minutes time. Yeah, you need to type something in the chat, otherwise you won't get into the draw. That's just the way it works. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Doug, then, on the loss, the regrets of dying and burnout and external, stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. That's a great, someone mentioned it's a great quote. Yeah, and I think, that's one thing I tried to do. I realized a few years back, especially as I got more into the side hustles, there's another way to do these things. I don't have to work at the corporate job. And one good exercise is I saw people that were successful at the company, and I was like, well, I don't want to be them in 10 years. Or I don't even know if I am motivated enough to even try to get to that position. And I would aim for it, never even get to it, and then be unhappy. So as I listened to more Tim Ferriss and Smart Passive Income and stuff, I was like, oh, I could choose what I want to work on and what I want to do and spend my time working. So I've certainly shifted. It's helped a lot.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, same really, to be fair. It's hard not to say what Doug has just said, really. But yeah, I don't know. Same what Doug says, really.
Yeah, I think when you work for another organization, I just got to the realization when I was doing, it actually dawned on me when I was studying for my very first MCSE. You know what that is, Mark?
Yes,
Microsoft certified. And someone said, if MCSEs, they can earn up to 50,000 a year. And I was like, okay, that was a huge figure then. But then when I actually sat back and thought about it, I was like, but that's still not going to be quite enough. And I still going to have to get up on a Monday morning. And then my brain was just thinking, however far I work in this company, I'm still always going to have to get up on Monday morning. And that was the real sticker for me. It was like, even if I get manager, director, whatever in this company, in this organization, it's like, I'm still not going to like it. I'm still not going to. So that was when I started thinking about doing other things, and however much they paid me was never going to satisfy.
Pat's still alive, right? I just want to check.
Yeah,
he's around. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
he just doesn't stream every day anymore.
Just as I remember him, he's no longer with us. Yeah. Okay.
He's not with us as much because he used to be on YouTube every day, didn't he?
He did. Cool. Okay. On that note, then, let's do the draw for some merch, shall we?
I'll get the music going.
Get some tunes on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Get rid of niche website builders because I don't need to win. Right, let's go.
I'm not sure the music's upbeat enough for the draw.
Should we pick someone else? Should I pick, pick a bit of future pop? How's this?
Oh. It's Carrie. Congratulations, Carrie.
Oh, Gary, yeah. Couldn't see the little eye there.
Niche website builders. Let's do a second draw as well.
Wow.
Music back on.
Mikali again.
Second time winner for Carly.
Carly, and she's won some of my merch in the past as well. You must have a whole wardrobe, must just be merch.
Clearing up on the merch,
Congratulations, Carly. Congratulations, Carrie. Yeah, go to the Niche Website Builders website, nichewebsite.builders, and hit us up on the chat or the contact form, and we'll send over some merch. Just want to give Baz the dev some credit. I noticed this at the start. We stop comparing ourselves to each other. It's not helpful. That's basically a lot of the conversation we spoke about, and I knew that was coming kind of at the end. Live life your way. I meant to mention it earlier, but I forgot. So Baz was the head of the episode there. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks again, Doug and Alex and Adam, of course, for joining us on the show. And yeah, I guess same place next week. Oh, no, not the same place next week. It's going to be you, I guess, Alex. Don't think we've got a topic for next week yet. So
no,
we'll get filling out that
something.
spreadsheet. And Doug, and then we'll put one next week. Heading out. Website investing show tomorrow. We're talking about internal linking using Link Whisper. So join us for that if you're interested. Doug, Alex, anything before we go you'd like to sign off with?
I'm doing a live stream tomorrow. Come join me. That's it. And yeah, I've done a couple of videos this week on income and Google core recovery. So yeah, go check them and leave me a comment. Let me know if your sites are recovering in any way. It'd be interesting to see.
My course is for sale this week. It's open till the end of day Friday. So you could chase it down or get in touch with me if you're not on the email list, if you're interested in checking it out.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks again, everybody. And we'll catch you on various channels another time. So see you again.
All right.
See you later.